My name is Tom Calanni, and I'm the producer and director of Expect a Miracle. You know, out of the thousands of websites you could have ended up on today, you chose this one. And I'm betting the reason is because of the word cancer. And just like you, all of us who came together to make the film Expect a Miracle, we all had some kind of connection with cancer. Whether it be a family member or a friend, somehow, some way, cancer invaded our lives. And that's what I want to talk to you about. You see, there was a scene that we were filming. It was Ryan Gates, the main character, as he was receiving his radiation treatments. And actually, he was wearing a mask similar to this one. And during that scene, I was doing everything a good director should do, look through the camera and check the lighting and so forth. But little did I know that a quick 6 months later, I would be wearing this mask and going through my own radiation treatments. And I'd like to tell you about what happened. I had one of those sinus infections midway through the production of Expect a Miracle, one of those sinus infections that just would not go away. I went to my doctor and he gave me several prescriptions of different antibiotics, but nothing seemed to work. Finally, he suggested to me that I should go see an ear, nose, and throat specialist. So that's what I did. Made an appointment with an ENT, went to that appointment, he examined me, and he said, Tom, a simple surgery would take care of your problem. So why don't you see my secretary, make an appointment, and have that surgery. So I said, okay, and I did that. But I left that appointment, and I left that appointment not feeling good inside. One reason was because I didn't think he spent enough time talking with me and examining me. The other one was, I can't tell you, but it was something in my heart that said that something else was wrong. So after I left, I decided to make another appointment with a different ENT for a second opinion, and that's what I did. And 2 weeks later, I was at the second ENT's office. And this time he examined me. He examined my ears, my nose, and my throat. After the examination, he turned to me and said, Tom, the first ENT was 100% accurate. He was right. You need a simple surgery, and that surgery would take care of your sinus problem. I was very relieved to hear that. But I'll never forget his next sentence. He said, but tell me, Tom, what did that doctor say about that growth that's in your throat? I was stunned. What growth? I didn't know what he was talking about. He went on to say, well, surely that doctor said something about that growth. It's at the very top of your voice box. I said, no, the doctor never said anything about that. He never mentioned anything about that. Then the ENT went on to say, well, irrespective of that, Tom, that growth concerns me more than your sinus problem, and you need to address that immediately. Well, that's what I did. Shortly afterwards, this doctor performed the surgery, took care of the growth, took it out, and he also took care of the sinus problems I had. About a week later, I went back for a follow-up, and I went back to his office, and he had the results from the biopsy. And he told me, he said, Tom, I need to tell you, you have cancer, and it's called extramedullary plasmacytoma. I didn't know what to say. What do you say when a doctor tells you that? He went on to say, and Tom, you need to follow this up immediately because this can turn into multiple myeloma. I didn't know what to do. From that point on, I went on a path of radiation treatments, follow-up, and it was a path that I never thought I would find myself. And I consider myself lucky because what I did not do is I did not ignore the problem. I did not put it off. I did trust the gut feeling I had inside of me that there was something wrong, and I did take action. And that's what saved my life.
Tom was very fortunate. I think he was fortunate to have it detected at an early stage. He was fortunate to have a cancer that was curable. And he was fortunate to have a doctor that was very thorough. By the time people have complaints from cancer, usually more often than not, it's a later stage of disease. But when you pick up something that's asymptomatic, meaning before the patient has symptoms, very often those are the type of cancers you can make a very big difference interventionally.
I think it's only human nature that we tend to ignore those things that scare us the most. Nonetheless, we can protect ourselves by having yearly screenings, just like the American Cancer Society recommends.
People sometimes, we all as human beings think if we ignore it, it will go away. And sometimes we don't want to face the reality. But I think the message that the public needs to hear is routine health maintenance is important, especially once you get into the fourth and fifth decades of life. Because most of these cancers that occur, the common ones that occur commonly in the community, are cancers that if they're detected early through routine screening, you can catch those before they're a later stage disease, and they are curable at that stage of the game. And when I think about those types of things that people should be screening, obviously for women it's breast cancer, for men it's prostate cancer, and all of us should be screening for colon cancer with colonoscopies once we hit the age of 50. And those routine screenings are set, and the guidelines are set by the American Cancer Society. Primary care physicians are well aware of them. They should know about them, and if they don't, then the public should educate themselves by going to the American Cancer website and question their doctors, and never be afraid to do that. You have to do what's right for you.
When I was examined by that first ENT, I just had the feeling he wasn't truly listening to me. Now, I know doctors are very busy, and I know that they have a very hectic schedule. Still, you need to find a doctor who will make time to listen to you, who will take time to truly listen to you, to examine you, and someone who views you as more than just a 2 o'clock appointment.
So I always tease my patients that the most important thing I do in the morning is use Q-tips. So that way I can clear any debris in my ear to make sure that I'm listening to what my patient's telling me. The way I look at it is, whoever I'm taking care of, well, that's somebody's mother, that's somebody's son, that's somebody's aunt, that's somebody's uncle. So I would treat that person just like I would want somebody to treat my family member. I would do that because it's the right thing to do.
We have to react. And in my case, my gut feeling and my reactions actually saved my life.
It's the single most important thing any of us can do to help combat this disease. And the reason for that is that the later stages of cancer in which we detect it, stages in which people have more symptoms and are sicker, it's because the cancer has spread more throughout their body. So if we can detect cancers in early stages where before they've widely metastasized, not only do we have a better chance of curing them surgically, but also helps our adjunctive therapies such as chemotherapy and radiation therapy to have a better chance of success.
Margaret Mead, a famous anthropologist, once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." And those words meant a lot to us during the ups and downs of this film. But even as determined as we were, we still wondered if our little film could make a difference.
There are people who are going to watch it and think, hey, maybe I should not ignore some of my symptoms, or maybe I should encourage my parents to go for healthcare maintenance that they've kind of blown off and not paid attention to. So if it just encourages people to do those things, then you've helped somebody. If this film helps one person, then it was a success.
And that's what we wanted. And as it turned out, ironically, I was that one. Maybe next time, you will be that one. So thank you for supporting this film, and thank you for supporting the American Cancer Society.
Expect a miracle. Don't give in to hopelessness. Keep your spirit